Welcome to the chapter who focuses on foreign direct investment and all the legal questions. Please remember, we had three categories of how to do international business. The first one was trade. The second one was licensing. And the third one is now foreign direct investment. This chapter focuses on the risk and the reasons why you should do foreign direct investments and the country and regional risks, and then some attitudes towards FDI, especially in emerging economies. And then we will see some cases where you see the systems and methods how to resolve investment disputes. In the subchapter number 5, there's something then about taxation of multinational firms. Yeah, let's start with the legal environment of foreign direct investment. Of course, we have the political structures are very, very different in the last years. They became different because of the demise of the Soviet system in Eastern and Central Europe. And then we have a committed rise and market-based economies, and we have government privatization. And so the opportunities for foreign investment are much bigger than before. But investment in foreign countries are not without risks. And we are not talking only about the normal risks attendant to any capital investment, but also there are special, for example, political risks. So a company must always be aware that a foreign government may, for example, make some nationalization or expropriation, so that one's investment, without full compensation, without paying any compensation, so they can take away all your property. There's another thing we will see then in the 5th chapter. So these are the tax law concepts. So we have the problem that sometimes it differs from country to country. So what may be taxable or creditable in one country may not be in another. And if you are a transnational business, you must not only be conversant in the tax regulation of your own country, but also in those of every country in which they operate, right? So we have a lot of tax risk and benefits. And for example, the background also of this international e-commerce brings another risk in there. And so we're in these days, we're trying to avoid double taxations. And there are 3 issues or 3 methods how you can, in international cases, how you can avoid the double taxation so that you pay for the same money you earned, so double the tax. So there are 3 concepts. The first is where's the establishment, so the permanent establishment of the company, then the character of the income and the source of the income. We will see this more in the 5th chapter. So for example, here, the first concept is you have to determine whether a fixed place of business exists or not, especially if you have an e-commerce business. And so there are some tests you can do this. So the next one is, the other concept is the character of the income, right? So whether the income is of a US or foreign source. So this is another method how to avoid double taxation. And of course, the third concept is the source of income. This helps also avoid double taxation because foreign taxes are credited proportionally to the foreign income of the taxpayer. Okay, yeah, the e-finance is also very important. So if you have cross-border e-finance, you sometimes see that is better, or you have sometimes some economic barriers, and they arise if the cost of completing an internet-mediated cross-border transaction outweighs its benefits, right? For example, the cost of a market access or of constructing the necessary technical infrastructure to support such transaction is significant. Okay, this book also states that we have a standardization of European currency. So this had a little bit reduced the currency risk in the EU or with the EU, and we had more transparency, and it facilitates the cross-border transactions. And we had some directives, some of the European Union, some directives that helps to give here more transparency and to give here a common framework. Okay, but now let's focus more on the general conditions of foreign direct investments. Just remember, we are not talking about trade or licensing. We're talking now about a business who is making investments that will allow it to carry on some significant portions of its physical operations in a host country. So we have always a host country and the original country, so a guest country or host country, and then the country where you came from. What are the reasons for foreign direct investments? Why not making trade from your home country or just give licenses? For example, it brings the business more in direct contact with the resources in a foreign country. You have access to countries' walkways. Sometimes you improve your sales because you're closer, you have closer ties to customers in the host country. You're closer to the production operations. You avoid sometimes trade barriers. We talked about the custom law and all these things. And we talked about the licensing problems. So you can acquire intellectual property in the host country, right? This is also one of the reasons. Yeah, what are the methods of foreign direct investment? How can you realize this? For example, you can open a foreign branch, or you can form a new subsidiary, or you can buy a foreign firm, or you enter in a joint venture, or you just buy some stocks. So that means you acquire the majority ownerships. Please, but note that in all the host countries, there may be restrictions and risks and legal consequences. We will talk about this now in the next chapter because it says all about the country and regional risks and foreign direct investment. See you in the next chapter.